In this video, we will introduce the InetAddress within the Java programming language. The java.net.InetAddress class is Java's high-level representation of an IP address, both IPv4 and IPv6. It is used by most of the other networking classes including socket, server socket, URL, datagram, datagram packet, and socket, and more. Generally, it includes both a host name and an IP address. The following example prints the addresses and names of two well-known internet websites. Let's begin by creating our InetAddress object. In this instance, we'll call it address. And here I'll demonstrate how to get the localhost. We'll surround it with a try catch for an unknown host exception. If you look at this, the InetAddress class has no visible constructors. To create an InetAddress object, you have to use one of the available factory methods. Factory methods are merely a convention whereby static methods in a class return an instance of that class. This is done in lieu of overloading a constructor with various parameter lists when having unique method names that make results much clearer. In the case of InetAddress, the three methods getLocalhost, getByName, and getAllByName can be used to create instances of InetAddress. These methods are shown here. The getLocalhost method simply returns the InetAddress object that represents the local host. The getByName method returns an InetAddress for a host name passed to it. If these methods are unable to resolve the host name, they throw an unknown host exception. Let's try the method getByName. Address equals getByName and we'll use google.com in this case. Let's print that to the console. And let's also use the getAllByName. I'll use a new InetAddress object instance. And this time, I'll use getAllByName, and I'll pass in another well-known site. I'll use a for loop statement to loop through the addresses that we receive from the getAllByName. And we'll print out everything that's in our array. Alright, on the internet, it is common for a single name to be used to represent several machines. In the world of web servers, this is one way to provide some degree of scaling. The getAllByName factory method returns an array of INET addresses that represent all of the addresses that a particular name resolves to. It will also throw an unknown host exception if it can't resolve the name to at least one address. Now let's run our program. Let's look at our output. Here we have the IP address of a host given the host name. Following that, we have the name of a host that returns an array of its IP address based on the configured name service on the system. We can see our host names with their IP address. This concludes our discussion of the INET address in Java.